Hello, friends. It's the nonsense I was just saying out loud. It may or may not go into the bloopers, but it's fine. It's time for another video. Welcome, any new subscribers. I think we're up to, I don't know, 105 now. That's awesome. Love you guys. Thank you very much for joining me on the insane journey that is both my writing career and my life. So there's a mix of both in these videos. There's some coughing in the background. Hopefully you didn't hear that, but I pointed it out, so the interruption was the same. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest at making videos ever. Okay. Um bum bum bum. What do we do for the last Shut up. It's a fun time tonight. We've been outside, we've been working in the yard, and everyone's got an extra little bit of energy because of that, and extra little bit of allergies because of that as well. What have I been up to in the last couple of weeks since I last updated you? Well, barely anything on book six. Book six has had, I don't know, another 1,000 or so words added to it, maybe two. We're up to about 16K. That's absolute garbage. Like, I could have written that in 3 days. But it's fine considering everything else I was doing, which I find to be much slower. I find revision to be incredibly slow for me. Now, I had to send, if you're new, even if you're not new, you're not going to remember. Christ, you're probably watching a billion different videos every day. Okay, so book one, been to a bunch of people, went to a couple of pros, uh, three. It went to three professionals. It's come back. I have to implement that stuff. I didn't do that in the last 3 weeks. What I did was prep book two to go off to another pro, one that did read book one. Ideally, you would stick with the same person, so that, especially in my case where I have a 30-book series, you'd stick with the same person so that uh, there's the off chance that they'll actually remember what happened in the previous book and be like, I think this is wrong. But anyway, so I had to revise that La La scene where I wrote something that was out of character, and it was pointed out by beta readers, critique partners, whatever. So I revised that, and then I sent that off. And then book three is coming up right after. So the pro is going to have that. Sorry, my nose is very itchy. I'm not. It's not like it's not a wet wipe. It's just an itchy wipe. Um, the pro is going to have book two for 2 weeks, and then I managed to book her immediately afterwards. So book three will be the book she goes to right after book two. So I also had to revise a couple of little mentions in book three back to that scene in book two. I had to revise those. I also implemented a bunch of feedback from a beta reader, critique partner. And I prepped that to be sent off to this pro again. And in the middle of all of that, over the last couple weeks, you know what? It's actually an accomplishment. I thought that this was all bullshit and that I hadn't actually done anything. But like, my books are shorter, right? But book two and three combined, it's like 120, 130,000 words. And it's like, to revise that much in 2 weeks is actually kind of impressive now that I'm thinking about it. I hadn't thought of that before. before I hit record. I hadn't thought of that until just this very second. That's actually kind of impressive. Plus, I don't know if I said this yet. I alpha read for my critique partner. So I have a few beta readers slash critique partners. They're all authors, so I guess they're all critique partners. But I have a few, and I like to get lots of opinions. And one of them sent me her book, which was at an alpha stage. So, like a draft one, a tiny bit rough. And I provided feedback as best I could on developmental. There actually wasn't anything wrong with the plot. It was more like, I'd like to see more of this, or like we could stand to hear more of this part. Maybe this could be incorporated into the end. That kind of thing. I'm not a professional dev editor, and like, nobody's paying me, right? We're just all like friendly swapping stuff. And we say what we say, and then it's up to the person if they want to implement those things or not. So the person who sent me that book for an alpha read is Beth Coffee. And I decided today I'm going to plug Beth Coffee. Coffee. Brood Awakening is Beth Coffee's first book. She has... I think my microphone just moved. Hold on, sorry. She has updated these covers as far as I'm aware. Introducing Envy. Now, I've spent a lot of my time drafting my own books, so I haven't actually had time to read either of those. Let's just fix my microphone again. I have read Sakura Dreams, which is her third book, which is lovely. They're all lovely, but I haven't had a chance to fully read the first two. And then the one that I alpha read was a spicy vampire thing. It's exciting times with the heavy breathing and all that stuff, which I also haven't read before. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. Oh, God, I can't. Don't cut. Don't cut. Just think of something new to say. La 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 la. Sorry, I didn't know where to go from that. I don't read erotica, so um, I have nothing to base it on other than apologies, life experience, and it all seemed great, like accurate, and with the romantic, or with the stylized, it's all cleaned up. Let's be honest, sex can be kind of gross sometimes, but it's it was the nice form of spice, and that was great. So I provided my feedback on that, and now, I mean, after doing a bunch of like yard chores and everything else, I'm back. It's like 8 o'clock at night or something. What time is it? It's 9 o'clock at night on Sunday. The Americans have some sort of holiday tomorrow, and Canadians had theirs last weekend. So I basically have to go to bed in a little bit in order to get up in time for work. But I'm going to write a little bit more. I also am anticipating getting... I'm not sure if it's an alpha or a beta. Well, it's a critique partner thing. Anyway, I'm expecting a manuscript, or a partial manuscript, from another writer friend, which is great. That I haven't read her stuff before, so it'll be super exciting to get that in. and it's a fantasy, which I don't read a lot of fantasy. Should I get into this? Okay. Look, internet. Look. The reason why I don't read a lot of fantasy is because I hate all the names you come up with. Every single name for every character, every creature, every world, every magic system, everything is completely interchangeable with everything else. Glock, glip, the glip glop, and glip, 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 and it just like fucking goes on forever. And I hate it. There's no way to remember anything in your stories because there's nothing tangible to like latch onto in my brain. Okay? If the world, like the locations had, and I'm not saying this exists for all of them, but these are the ones that like I've picked up and I'm like, I can't even make it through a page because of all this nonsense words that you're throwing at me. And I refuse I refuse to clear out a space in my mind just to memorize the crap you've come up with. If the world names are more akin to words that I know, like maybe they're very similar to places that already exist, or if the animal names are all completely similar to animals that have already been named, or if the character names are normal names. Now, okay, normal names for stupid old white guy living in Canada. Um, they don't all have to be Jack and Jill went up the hill. There are lots of names in the world that I haven't heard, but it's it's you know what? I like H.P. Lovecraft, apart from the racism, but not every name in your fantasy book has to be Lele, or, you know, with like apostrophes and stuff. It makes it impossible to appreciate the story when you're trying to remember what's a place name and what's a person's name and what's a creature's name. You know, that's all I have to say about that. That's, well, apparently I have more to say. That's why I shy away from fantasy. I'm not saying that all fantasy is like that, but I do shy away from it because I'm not terribly interested in the alphabet soup that either oftentimes or sometimes happens. Feel free to attack me in the comments and tell me that fantasy books aren't like that anymore, but they are. Some at least. So, anyway, I'm looking forward to reading this person's um, fantasy novel or pages or chapters or whatever she wants to send me as someone who doesn't really read fantasy so that I can focus more on the character arcs or the plot or I'm pretty anal, so there's like technical inconsistencies that I might pick up on. I'm also like I'm comma heavy, so I'll try not to mention those types of things because I'm not sure that I'm always right, but I do enjoy a comma here and there. So that's it. That's what I've done in the last 2 weeks. Revised book one, revised book two, and sent it out. Revised book three, ready to send out. Alpha read and wrote a little bit more in book six. And for the coming week or two, I'll keep going on book six, and I might do some more critique partner beta reading for someone else. And that's all there is. So, I mean, it's just, writer stuff all the time, mixed with a little bit of housework and some food preparation. I made refried beans yesterday, and They were lovely, but this isn't the channel to show you how to do that. I learned my lesson from all the bacon making stuff in the early days of this channel. So no more food for you, jerks. Algorithm doesn't like me. Okay, the end. Goodbye. Uh, have yourselves a wonderful week or two, however long it is before I see you again. Bye. Boom. I mean, maybe don't call people jerks. It's weird because I feel like I have no energy at all, and yet that video felt almost energetic. I wonder if it'll come across like that. Whatever. There's not really any bloopers. What do you want? What do you want from me? What do you want from me? Oh, we got our drumsticks. It's not how it used to be. Taking my life from me. Ruined everything. What do you want from me? That's what people want. They want the insanity. Don't you? I need a tube. I don't have a tube. I need to sing into a small thing here. Hold on. What is this box? I have a box. Ugh. What, you don't have random boxes on your floor? I have random boxes everywhere. Will this work as a tube? Oh, does it sound like I'm on old time radio? A carnival for the human race, cotton candy, happy face, child talking with his mouth full, girlfriend gets stuffed animal, festive mood is all around, another world is what we've found. Step right up, let's make a deal, ride the Ferris wheel. Okay, and then there's music and stuff. If anyone actually wants to look that up, it's Mr. Bungle. Okay, I won't, Carousel is the name of the song. Thank God we weren't recording what I just said. Okay. This is my beer. Where does it go so that people can't see it? I mean, they know I'm drinking it. It doesn't really matter. It honestly doesn't matter. Okay. They know I'm an alcoholic. And they, well, they tisk under their breath, but that's fine. Probably sweeter than mine. This is the same stuff that they use in the haunted houses to make this smoke. Propylene glycol. And vegetable glycerin, which is why if you ever smell somebody vaping, you'd be like, that reminds me of Halloween. It would. It would. Okay. I mean, vaping's stupid for kids, but it's great for adults who are trying to quit smoking. But of course, let's ban it in all ways possible so that people can't quit smoking. And then people who have never smoked in their lives say, well, it's not that hard to quit. Hello, friends. It's the nonsense I was just saying out loud. I won't waste any more of your time. Goodbye. Goodbye. I love you. Woo. We're going.